listen to Serial Podcast 9.
Hello, I'm Gerard Peralta.
And I'm Kevin Peterson.
And I'm Ryan Benoit, and this is Serial Podcast 9, episode 8. We're really running these up. We were going to stop at 6. Today's topic is how to build a cool car. Now,
oh, shit.
This topic came up in one of our last episodes. It was actually Gerard asked me how to build a cool car, and then I just kind of like shrugged it off because I don't really know the answer. So instead of just leaving it as is, we're going to dig into it a bit and actually ask Gerard and Kevin, how do you build a cool car?
Yeah.
All right.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, my friend, you know?
Right. Which brings us to our first point. What is a cool car? How do we even judge what a cool car is?
Is it cool to us, or is it cool to the person that builds it, or is it cool to the internet?
I mean, it's all things, but like when we say cool car, quick recap was, hey, how do you get your photos taken at a car event? And we said either be friends with a photographer, build a cool car, or pay the money, or be somebody.
Those all sound like good ways to get your car photographed.
Yeah. Easiest way is to make friends with a photographer. If you're not great at making friends, you should just build a cool car. But what does that actually mean? What is a cool car?
How do you define what a cool car is? I mean, it was a bit of a joke, but it is kind of all in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? Like, what's cool to me is not cool to you. But I mean, to me, a cool car is always low. Like, the lowest car is the coolest car. You see those crazy drag cars that are designed to be like right on the ground, and they look so sick compared to the same car, but it's riding high, like stock style. To me, that's what it is. Just like slam the shit out of whatever you have, and it's cool.
So are those cool, like those cars in Japan and those cars, I guess, now in North America with no floors and shit? Like, is that cool?
I mean, to an extent, it's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's definitely pretty fucking cool. Like, if you're like driving your car that scrapes so much that the floor is worn away, that's a level of coolness.
It's definitely some sort of level of coolness. Yeah.
Sure. I like cars that are clean, you know, physically actually clean. And then also like don't have a bunch of stuff plastered on and you know, look well put together.
Does it matter what kind of car it is?
I would say it doesn't really matter what kind of car it is. Like I feel like I could appreciate cars from all genres.
Like that 1JZ Ford Taurus rear-wheel drive thing, right? That's pretty cool.
That thing was fucking cool. Yeah, that thing was cool. Right. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I can appreciate that. And like, there's not like a huge amount of Volkswagens I can appreciate though. But
what if they're low on the ground and clean?
I mean, they are all low on the ground, but like,
and clean.
And they are all clean. And yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is, I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. And that's the eye of the beholder type thing right there, where it's just like,
I can tell you exactly why none of them do anything for you, man.
Because they're not rear wheel drive.
Okay. Well, A, they're all front wheel drive. So, I mean, that's like loses the point of coolness right there. And then B, they've only recently figured out how to put camber on the front. And it's like, I don't give a fuck how much camber you have on the back if you have none on the front. So it's like, figure it out, guys. It's 2021. You know what I mean? But now there are a lot of pretty cool V-dubs, like especially like some of those bugs. There's like some bugs in like Latvia and like Poland that are like stands out on Meister L1s. Really cool.
Yeah.
So I want to recap this for you because I've found after doing 8 episodes with you guys that sometimes if I reiterate what you're saying, you hear it back and then you're like, oh wait, there's some holes in what I've just described. Yeah. So super low, wearing a hole through the bottom of the car is cool as long as the car is clean. So minus the holes in the bottom of the car.
So many people will come up with their vision of what's cool and present it. Something that you would never in a million years be like, that's a good idea, can look really cool. And then like I could try to explain it to you right now and it's going to sound like garbage, but it's as a total package. Like, you know, like there's those cars in Japan where it's like, I don't know what the style is, but like they've literally done everything they possibly can do to the car. It's painted so many times, so many colors. Like there's the tail light is a tack. Like there's a pachinko machine, like and all, you know what I mean? And then they cut the roof off. Those cars aren't functional, but like they're just so cool. It's just, yeah, like
those cars don't do it for me, honestly.
No, you don't feel those.
I mean, I can get down with some of them, but yeah, once you put a tachometer in your taillight in a pachinko machine, you're just I don't even know, like, what is that thing? You know what I mean?
But I mean, I don't know. You think those Carolina squat trucks are cool, so
yeah,
like,
they're fucking tight.
How is that cool? That's the stupidest shit in the world, you know.
I mean, it's got 26 by 16s. That's cool as fuck. Literally the biggest wheels ever. Like, it's kind of sick.
I mean,
All
I
right.
guess.
Okay, so Gerard, what makes a car cool for you?
All right. So for me, what makes a car cool is kind of like, I like to see a total package, right? So if I can see that the owner had a vision, and maybe it's kind of unique. Obviously, something unique is usually a little bit more interesting, and executed that vision to a level that's like pretty complete. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not just a mishmash of stuff, like it's kind of that saying, like, you can't buy style. Like, you can buy every cool part in the book, but if you can't put it together properly, it's still going to look like garbage, right? So like, you could take not a lot of stuff, put it together in a certain way, and it's somehow just super dope. Like, it could be the ride height, the choice of wheels, the fender work or lack of, or like the fitment of said wheels. It's a pretty basic one, but like somehow R32 or R33 wheels like somehow look good on like almost every car. So like, I've seen, like a Nissan Primera, like an old one with like R33 wheels. Like, that's pretty cool, and it has like a VVL SR. That's like pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like, yes, personally don't really like cars that are super, super over the top. It's just a total package. I do prefer when the cars are somewhat functional. Like, I do like cars that are like crazy low and stuff. If there's that fine line where like you can actually drive the car and it sort of works compared to the guy's car that like doesn't work and is the same height, then I think the car that does work at that height is cooler. So, yeah.
So there's obviously a Venn diagram that overlaps with all of what we think is a cool car. Otherwise, I don't think we would be friends. Or we wouldn't be doing a podcast. I wouldn't take photos of your car, and you probably wouldn't let me take photos of your car. So this relationship wouldn't work.
You can't really control who takes photos of your car, buddy.
You could not share them, and then they would be sad, and then they wouldn't do it anymore. You'd really hurt their ego. You got to play the long passive aggressive game to get someone.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there's obviously that, and I kind of think Gerard touched on it, and it is true. It's like, there's a whole total package that comes together when you see something. It's and ties into what Kevin said. It's in the eye of the beholder, but it's the same thing. Like, why do we consider Van Gogh a great painter compared to like my 4-year-old daughter? Why are those differences? And there's, obvious, you can talk about technique and all this stuff, but there's an aesthetic and it appeals to everyone. I guess maybe it's a little bit like art. I would actually argue anyone who's listening to this probably has a sense of what we think a cool car is.
I would say almost not, though. It's like, I have like a very finite, narrow vision of cars that I build, you know what I mean? Compared to cars that I like, I think all these like different genres of cars are cool, like lowriders and like, I don't know, like the one genre of cars I don't really think is cool is like gassers. I've never appreciated
gassers are dope, man.
No, like that's the thing. It's like that doesn't do anything for me. But like
you like donks, but you don't like Carolina squad trucks or gassers. What the fuck? That's fucked. Gassers are sick, dude.
I mean,
it's
people, like, here's the thing though, Kevin. People probably relate to you on your level of execution. So it's not so much like, oh man, this guy has so many things that he's into. It's what you're presenting them with. It's the level of execution of what you're doing and how you do it. That's what people are identifying with. People aren't necessarily following Kevin to hear how he feels about gassers. They want to like know how he feels about and builds Toyotas. As a company that primarily focuses on Toyota.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say though, like I'm just trying to say, like I have a pretty narrow focus on the cars that I've been building in pretty much always compared to what I appreciate and think is cool.
I've definitely built a pretty
I never built a donk.
An interesting plethora of cars. I mean, I built like that MPV, which was kind of sick.
Yeah, that was pretty chill.
And then I guess like I've definitely built like the X7 wagon. It was kind of interesting.
Are they all Japanese cars, you guys?
No, I had a Cortina and a Pinto back in the day.
Right.
I was a British Ford and then a German Ford guy, and then an American Ford guy. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I also had 2 Fords before I had my first Corolla, but then once I had my Corolla, I don't think I've like modified any car that's not a Toyota.
Yeah, let's just say the proof is in the pudding type thing. Like you guys, you're building mostly import Japanese cars. As long as I've known you.
And that's the thing is I toyed with buying like an American like truck and stuff too. Like I don't think there's I don't have anything against them. Obviously, like Kevin says, like I like those cat eye Chevys squatted on like 26s or 24th or whatever. But like, I was like, maybe I'm not going to build that because, you know, you probably couldn't drive it here anyways. And then I need to tow my car with it. So it's like, well, can it tow? I guess, maybe. I don't know.
All right.
So yeah, I just bought a Japanese truck.
Perfect. So we have a rough idea of what a cool car is. It's low. It's put together properly. How do you guys feel about name brand parts? Is that important?
Yes, 100%. Don't buy knockoff SERIALNINE parts, such as excessive, fixed manufacturing, powered by Max, Max speeding rods, T-Demand, Radium, especially fish racing. Fuck fish racing. Fuck fish racing. No, I mean that's a sticky subject, man. That's definitely
You don't know. You don't know.
Sticky subject.
Okay, so for
you've
me,
already put your foot in it. Like you've already dipped your whole foot into the pond. So just
yeah,
say what you want to
man.
say.
Finish it off.
No, I mean, like, yeah, obviously I want people to purchase our products, not other people's products, but there are not like fake SERIALNINE products. You know,
I think he just means name brand generally.
Yeah.
Like
so you mean
wheels,
like
Rhoda,
Rhoda, but that's the only thing I can think of where there's that actual, or I guess there's like Tile versus eBay.
Yeah, there's eBay parts, there's eBay manifolds, there's knockoff like Arrow. There's tons of knockoff. There's everything. So is that important when you're building a car? Like how important is, like, if you want to build a cool car, how important is it to follow those guidelines of like, I need to buy from the catalog, you know, like have the actual part? Is there wiggle room in that?
I think it depends on who you're talking to. Like if
they're talking to you, Kevin.
Yeah. So if I'm talking to Kevin,
just say it. I'll say it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, why don't you go first then? Like, yeah, I feel like this is really like.
Okay, so to me, it depends on the level of car you're building. Like if you're, I don't know, like you're some like fairly experienced dude and you're building like a cool car, but it's not like your pride and joy car. I feel like you can cut corners, and I feel like you can accomplish, like I said, a good overall package, and it doesn't have to have name brand parts. Like, you know, as far as wheels and stuff go, people are such sticklers on like name brand this and name brand that. I mean, like, I don't really like cheap wheels, but like Rhoda makes a lot of OEM wheels. So like Rhoda isn't like the biggest garbage. And I mean, like tons of people run Cosmos, and all of a sudden Cosmos is cool because like they sponsor people. I don't know. I don't really like them either, but like a lot of people think they're cool, or somehow that's okay. They're not knockoffs because they're not copying anyone, but they're not exactly like a Japanese wheel. But you know, in the same respect, like is like a work emotion like the best wheel in the world? No, it's a fucking
how heavy, dare you?
It's a heavy cast, you know,
yes,
aluminum wheel.
How dare you?
You know what I mean? So like if you can build a cool car on some interesting wheels with an interesting body kit and like put it together in a cohesive manner that like somehow looks better than a car with name brand parts, fuck yeah, do it. Like if that's what you can afford, you
like
know
that's
what I mean?
that whole like money can't buy style thing. It's like you could have like the name brand works in a terrible size, and all of the parts are like totally legit. It's just not a good package. And then you have the kid who has all the style and no money with like the absolute slam car with the ESRs, and like it just looks so much better, but like, you know, it doesn't have the same shit, you know.
I mean, for me personally, like I don't like wheels that like replicate other wheels, because it's like you're blatantly copying. It can't afford a BBS LM, you know, maybe don't buy a copy BBS LM, just buy another completely different wheel that has a cool look that maybe isn't a blatant copy of another wheel, right? So like there's what are those wheels from, like, is it called like PP Racing or something? It's the parent company of Cosmos. But anyways, yeah, they have a whole bunch of like kind of cool truck wheels. And I mean, even Cosmos themselves, like a lot of the styles aren't copies. So like that's probably why people sort of like are more accepting of them. So like if you can have a cool wheel company, doesn't have to be like a 3-piece forged blah 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 wheel. It just doesn't have to be a blatant copy of an already existing popular nicer wheel.
If you ever thought we were going to get sponsorship from Rare Spec Wheels, we just lost it. Alex is listening to this and just is losing his mind right
rolling
now.
in his grave. Yeah, like, rolling in his grave, but he's not even
he's
dead.
Like fucking abort.
I mean, I got TSWs on my car and my truck. Like, so fucking what? Like, I'm not spending $2,000 for winter wheels. Like, I spent, you know, $400. They're brand new. They're round. They're like staggered. Like, fuck it, they work, right? So like, But yes, in the same respect, I can respect, and obviously I have like really nice, rare, expensive 3-piece, blah, blah, blah wheels.
I feel like this is the time. You have really rare spec wheels. This is the time to do the plug. Yeah, but that's the thing. The car that you're most known for is the one that has the coolest wheels on it, that has the coolest parts on it.
I mean, that's because that's my pride and joy car, of course. I mean,
but that's the thing. We're saying like the original question of what we started with is like, how do you build a cool car? How do you get noticed? And here's the thing. I respect your guys' opinion immensely, but like I am the other way on wheels. I think they need to be like name brand wheels. I do think there's parts that you can like be a little bit more loosey goosey with, but wheels are, I don't know, man. They're like shoes. You know, it's like
I feel like maybe like the whole wheel thing also is a little bit different when you're like a drift dude and you need to have like 16, 18 wheels or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just need to have like a set of cheap wheels, you know?
But don't you guys, all the wheels you drift on are name brand wheels, aren't they?
Correct.
Yes.
Not yours aren't, or are they, Kevin? Or,
they are.
I thought that, yeah, they are. Like you guys, Kevin's aren't?
Kevin's are not, no.
I have CR Lies.
How dare you?
But they are better fitting and nicer finish than my genuine CR Kais. So like,
yes. And so to replicate that wheel, so let's that's a perfect example. To replicate that wheel, you'd have to buy a CR Kai, strip it, paint it, machine the face, just so that you could say, oh, I have a genuine CR Kai with a machine face and silver finish. Doesn't exist.
That's what I want you to do. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, so you want my RS05RRs. I wanted to replicate my Sparkos, which have a machine face. So I bought brand new RS05RRs in silver and then machined the face. It was like an additional $650 on top of the who knows how much for the RS05RRs. And like, yeah, they were cool and unique. And like, I think that's super cool, but like, it's really expensive. And was it worth it? I'm going to probably say no, man.
Yeah. Like how many people in the entire world noticed that they were machine face versus some other, you know?
Exactly.
But those are dudes. The dudes that notice that are the ones that Gerard actually wants to talk to about his car.
Totally, 100%.
So, here's the thing, you guys, you can't put a price on cool. So I'm sorry, I'm not.
But you have to.
No, but it's a long process. If you want to have genuine, full, awesome, like good quality, genuine coilovers, good quality, genuine suspension pieces, good quality, genuine wheels. Like, okay, now are you going to modify like the body, the motor? Like good quality parts on the interior, like you know, like this is a lot of money in a long build. Like if you're doing everything properly,
and then you go and throw it at a wall or throw it at your friend's car. It's like, okay, yeah, sweet. Like,
well, I mean, maybe not. Maybe you're building a VIP car or.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like,
but then maybe that's actually what makes it cool. Is like if it was a formula, it's like time over effort divided by execution equals cool. Like, I don't know, because that's the thing. I've always been strongly into if you're gonna do that, like do it properly the first time. So save up your money and buy that.
I know. I think that's like definitely a more experienced car guy point of view. Like the guy in the beginning is probably going to buy the cheaper shit, and you know, like the more you go through life, you're going to realize that like there's a reason that the more expensive stuff is more expensive. You know, like
here's an example. This is just a quick one. Jordan Hall of Hot Boys puts an SR20 in his Miata. There's not a ton of SR20 powered Miatas that I know of in the world. I'm sure there are some. Nobody gave a shit about that car until he put work wheels on it. And as soon as he put work wheels on it, people were like way more into that car.
Yeah, because it completed the package. There is going to be some sort of compromise. And I mean, I don't want to come off as some fucking douchebag that like, oh, you can only have Blitz 03s and like get the fuck out of here, man. Like a wheel's a wheel. Is it round? Does it hold a tire? Can it fucking go down the road? Yeah. Like, you know, be real, man. Like,
at the same point, like there's no way in hell Gerard would ever come close to drifting on stock wheels or anything close to not fitting the fender well, or you know, like Gerard and I are talking about this, and then Gerard's drift spares are like Sparkos, and like those are like the backup drift spares. Like Gerard has 8 veil sides, so it's like it's preaching one thing but living in the other. But like not everyone can live that life, you know.
Well, that's only on that particular car. But like, I mean, we have 2 or 3 other cars. I'm not buying genuine wheels for 5 different cars. I mean, I'm not that rich, and I'd rather have, you know, a truck than works on my other car. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it allows you to do other things. I mean, if you're balling out of control, by all means, buy all the fucking wheels you want. But like, not but everybody is, right?
So which cars don't have name brand wheels on it? I just want to know so I never take photos of them.
Yeah, the winter stage, yeah.
Gerard's truck.
In my truck. Both have PSWs.
My Aristo that looks exactly like your Aristo.
How dare you?
Exactly.
It does not look exactly like my car.
Your wheels are white. My wheels are silver. My wheels are machine face.
I think the CRLIs look pretty good.
Aren't yours 18s?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have 19s.
You have 19s.
Yeah, he has 19s. Which is
okay.
which by the way
didn't know.
Is a really cool. See that's a small point, for example, that like makes your car special because you have CRKs, but they're 19-inch CRKs. So like instantly that's like a level up in the CRK world. So like,
well, also you can't. I don't think you could get CRLIs in 19.
You can't. No, you can't.
See, that's a flex.
Also, everything else would look stupid on my car because of the arrow. Anyway, it's not. This isn't about me.
Hey, we're just talking.
We're talking about cool cars.
And my veil side hood. No.
Yeah, you have a veil side hood. You have a cool arrow, which I don't know, what the fuck it is, but it looks sick.
It's a walled front, and then I think the back is also a walled, and maybe I think it might all be walled, but I'm not entirely sure.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If you were like, oh, I don't know what arrow it is, it's some Japanese knockoff of some other arrow or some unknown Japanese kind of no-name, shitty name arrow, would that make you care less about how cool your car looks with that arrow?
Here's the thing. You didn't ask me which parts I cared about and which parts I didn't care about. Arrow, I think as long as it fits properly and like goes like, like accentuates the car and it's not like janky and it fits with the whole package. I'm not upset about people who like run knockoff arrow because that's a thing that gets smashed up, it gets broken. As long as you put the work in to make it look good, then I'm not mad about it.
You can have there are a lot of genuine brand X kits that don't really look that great.
Yeah,
like even the Vertex Ridge wide body. Like I got nothing for that. You know, I don't like it.
Yeah, if you go with the full veil side kit for my car, I'm not crazy about that kit. Like it's quite a bit going on there. But that's the thing. It's like I will excuse fiberglass parts. I don't necessarily excuse like engine parts. I won't excuse parts that require like proper engineering to make, right? Does that make sense?
In the past, I have successfully run like a eBay exhaust manifold
100%
with like a Cummins turbo, and like 100%. That was a successful setup and it like ripped way more than the setup I had before and it seemed to last pretty good. And like is that what I would do now? Like there's like no hope in hell as that's what I would do now. But maybe if I was trying to build a super low budget car, like that would be an acceptable thing. But yeah, like on my car that I care about, I want to have like, a name brand manifold and a proper turbo and proper good parts. But like
the part that always scared me about that was, so you guys know people that weld, you have access to that and you can do that and you work on cars. So if you get a part and it doesn't fit 100%, you guys have the ability to make it work. I come from a place I come from Regina, Saskatchewan. When I started out, there wasn't a ton of speed shops. There weren't people that would do like fabrication work that would fix things. So if you showed up with a part that didn't work and you weren't installing it yourself, or even if you were installing it yourself and you're like, the bend isn't right, or there's a hole, or blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to weld. Now I got to go pay someone to fix it. I got to go pay. So it's like, cool, I maybe bought this part for way cheaper, but by the time I get it to work properly where I am, I would have been just as far ahead if I would have bought the name brand part.
Yeah,
So I've always gone with that.
Totally. It's like those, eBay exhaust manifolds. I've had to take one to a machine shop and get them to like deck it because the flange is so warped and skewed. You're like, this would never seal, But like, yeah, and it is, that's what it is. You're always kind of taking a gamble, I feel with those things. And it's like if you have the mechanical ability to work past them or know how they're supposed to work, then you can deal with it maybe.
To recap, when you build the car that you care about, the coolest car that you have,
yeah,
you guys are, for the most part, investing the money into that car.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ideally, it's the best thing I can afford of every particular piece that I've touched.
I would say
the most proper iterations of each of your cars, you have like custom built wheels, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Or custom ordered, yeah.
When building a cool car to get noticed or whatever, how do you build a cool car? The coolest version of your guys' shit are built properly with proper parts.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I want to say
you're not
okay. But with an asterisk, with the whole money can't buy style, you could buy all the most genuine parts in the world and put them together in a shitty manner.
That's fine. We'll get Gerard, say your thing, and then we'll move on to the next.
Okay. One. I want to say ultimately the level is going to be overall higher with higher quality parts. Like if you're building two cars exactly the same, if you're using genuine parts, that level of car is going to be ultimately higher. But you can build an almost that car with lesser parts. So, I mean, really depending on whatever budget you have or what the intention is for the car, I guarantee you I could make a car look super sick that you want to take a picture of, but it doesn't have genuine parts or like
challenge accepted.
You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is,
you've already checked the other box of make friends with the photographer. So how we like need that's not even a proper scientific method.
No, what we'll do is we'll just have Gerard come out in like a whole like camouflage outfit, and you don't know that it's him, and you'll just be like, man, that car's sick, and you'll be taking photos of it, and then you'll be like, who can I send these photos to? And it'll be like, Gerard.
Who's that old guy always smiling?
You want to know what's funny though? You want to know what's funny though? I bought that seat time car and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's going to be the cheapest thing ever. And all I'm thinking about doing is putting the Sparkos on it. Cause I'm like, yes, I can finally put the Sparkos on something, but like,
why not?
And I need some front wheels, but I'm like, okay, just get some anything front wheels. But then I'm like, I'm not going to put anything front wheels on it if I have Sparkos on the back. Like I got to have at least something similar on the front. And so anyways, like you asked me the question, would you run cheap wheels? And it's like, am I buying ESRs for the front of the seat time car? Like, no, I'd rather just not. I'd rather have like stock wheels.
I love the one thing that I've like found with this is the longer we talk about something, you guys have a very like proper answer for a thing, but over time it degrades and it goes and then the pendulum swings in the complete opposite direction. So like at the beginning of the episode it's one thing, and then like you just blow right by that point, and then you're on the other camp, and it's hilarious to me.
I was gonna say one thing that Gerard and I kind of agreed on when we first met was that like a car slammed on the stock wheels was still cooler than a car like not lowered on aftermarket wheels.
Yes.
It always looked better,
Or you have some aftermarket wheels that like fit poorly. It's like I'd rather just have a completely stock car slammed than like a car slammed on like really shitty, like 17x7 CR guys. It's like, good job, buddy.
Exactly.
Look, there's nothing sadder than like the person that has all the right ingredients just slightly off, right? It's like, oh, like your wheels, you didn't actually pick the right fitting wheel, like like they're way sunken.
The fitment's just like kind of garbage, right?
The person who didn't do the research but like knew enough of like the key buzzwords of how to build, like it's like buzzword building. It's like there's that stage where you kind of do
the most
fully stupid things. You do the most because like you're not thinking tastefully, you're just thinking like outrageously. Kevin, you said with your Corolla, dudes would be like hating on it and you would be just fucking jazzed on it, right? Like because it was kind of the most. And there is that point where you do the most, and then because you want some type of reaction from people, and then I think over time you're like, oh no, maybe I should like dial that in. And I've had cars that I've built where then I've been like, actually, you know what, I don't really like this car anymore. This is not what I wanted. And I look back now and I'm like, why did I do that? If I could do it all over again, I would do it differently. On theme with that. And so if somebody shows up and they actually don't have a sense of what a cool car is, where do they even begin to understand? Like, so imagine you didn't know anything about cars and you were getting into cars and you're starting carte blanche and you have to educate yourself. How do you start that process?
Okay, first of all, you get a membership to 2 magazines, or a subscription to 2 magazines, Dorian and VIP Style. And then you get that for 10 years and you study those styles, and like you get some sort of like semblance of like merging the 2 styles, and then and then you come up with something that's kind of your own and put it together and build a couple cars.
So you basically like download every drift video off the internet you possibly can find. And then when YouTube comes out, you just scour that. And then when Facebook comes out, you friend every single Japanese dude who has a crazy car that's the same as yours.
But so crazier.
Way crazier, like way crazier than you could ever imagine. Like anything you want to do, they've already done it 1,000 million times better than you could ever imagine. So then you friend all of them so that you can like hopefully try to steal like the tiniest little like drip drop or nugget of information about how to make your car that cool.
So the common thread here is Japan. So just pay as much attention to what's going on in Japan, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you like monster trucks or something. So like, that's probably not going to help
you. That's why I started this podcast.
Maybe you like trucks from Carolina that are lifted in the front and slammed in the back, you know?
I guess I'm asking is like, how do you begin to get a vision if you don't know anything? And I mean, you did.
I couldn't tell you, man. If you don't know anything,
I mean, I think I was going to say, like, I think if you're not really into cars, then you're not going to have any sort of vision. And if you have a vision of something that you think you could make cool, then you're kind of already into cars.
Yeah. Like how did my 5-year-old son think lowriders were cool? Like he just saw it and he's like, man, that thing's sick. Like, I don't know what it is about it that I like, but it's like, that thing looks different and cool. Then
honestly, like anytime Gerard asks me like what I like, that's how I feel. I'm like, I don't know what I like about it, but I can either tell you very much so whether I like it or I don't like it. Like,
even like some stuff like wheels, for example. Like he'll be like, oh, the wheels on that like Audi look cool, and I look over and I'm like, fuck yeah, they do. They're like, multi-spoke concave, and I'm like, I don't know what he sees in that wheel, but like, yeah, it's a cool wheel compared to like, the peasant model Audi. It's like an RS5 or whatever it may be, but like somehow I guess you got to have some semblance of car knowledge to be into cars, to know a little bit of what you like, and then just seek out more of what that is.
Time out. I just want to go back to one point from parent to parent. At what age is it cool for me to say fuck yeah to my daughter?
I don't know, man. I don't really swear. Like I try.
Well, you just said he pointed at wheels, and you're like, "Fuck yeah, they are."
Well, I mean, in my head, I'm like, I'm like, yeah, that's like, yeah. That's
all right. Let's start a parenting blog with Gerard, where he teaches me how to be a dad. All right. Well, okay. You are right. Like you have to have some inkling. You have to be drawn to it. I often think about when I was a 12 or 13-year-old.
I was just going to talk about that when I was a kid. Go on.
And I was just going to say, like, to me, I could not understand how could you ever want to own a car and not modify it? Like, I was just like, all of my friends, I was like, we're all going to buy cars and we're all going to modify them. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, they're all going to be Japanese cars. And they're like, no, they're not. Like, that's not what I'm into. And as a kid, I was like, how am I the only one that's right about this? And then I was like, it took me a long time to be like, oh man, no, I'm not. This isn't for everyone, and I get it, but it's not for everyone. So I agree with
I don't know. To me, I remember, you're at like elementary school or high school or like, and some crazy car rolls by and you just completely stop paying attention to whatever you're doing or whatever sport you're playing. So you can like watch this cool car, or like you're on the street and you see like some super modified car and you're just like, I don't even know what that is, but that shit is so sick. And then, if they like drove it sick, that was like the next level of cool too, like it's one thing to see a sick car and then they're literally just like putting down the road and you're just like, okay, yeah, that's kind of cool. But like when you see a sick car and then they do like a hard launch or like,
a burnout. And he's got to be a burnout.
Like, dude, like anything, even like driving it super high up into first gear and like letting it whine out, or like any sort of move where like you can tell the person cares. It's just so sick. And like I feel that like that used to drive me wild as a kid. So like, when I drive by a schoolyard, I try and like do a move, or what I mean? Like,
sure.
It's a 40 zone.
Like,
Kevin's just trying to do.
So then you got to be in first gear. You 100%.
Yeah, you might as well just
every school zone you have to be
roll
in first gear.
Yeah,
The kids are running to the fence and they're all like on the fence looking at your car and shit. It's just like, man, hopefully you're inspiring the next generation of little car kids.
And then you just throw SERIALNINE stickers at them. And
out the
drive away.
window. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
This is a write-off. Write-off. Tax write-off.
Okay, so when I was a kid, I don't know how old I was, but I was pretty young. So we lived in this like literally buttfuck nowhere town, but we would spend summers in Winnipeg. Our house that we would rent for the 2 months of summer was right beside a body shop, and this was in the 80s. The smell of Bondo permeated the whole house every day, and I would sit on the steps and like look over the fence, and like this was the era of like, you know, big engines sticking out of hoods and like jacked up rears and crazy candy paint jobs and stuff, and like I would literally sit out there all day and just look at these cars, and like I guess they had like bigger wheels and like candy paint and like huge engines, and like they were just so different from normal cars, and you know, they were loud and they were like really cool. And I remember thinking, man, like I really like this shit. This is what I'm into, you know. And then that progressed into what the hell I'm into now. You got to know at a young age or some sort of
yeah, that's fair. So two things. The one thing that I've been meaning to tell you for a while, Gerard, is one of your strongest skill sets on this podcast is your ability to make lists. When you do lists, it's just the best. Like there's not a podcast that doesn't go by where you make a list and it's always the same like cadence and it's amazing. And anyway, so to agree with your point, I was like 12 or 13. My brother is, I think, like 6 years older than me, or 6.5, whatever. He was into import cars, and he befriended the guys that worked at the one speed shop in Regina, and he would have a barbecue, and there would be like just a row of like done up Hondas and Mazdas and shit like that in front of my house. Never like 240s or anything, because that wasn't the thing in the 90s. And I just remember
it's still like a new car.
Yeah, it was still a new car. But it was like that at that point, it was just like, wow, like looking at all these cars. And, you know, it seems dumb now to say, and I would never tell anyone to do this, but it was like one of the dudes drove a GSR and he owned the shop, and he was like the first guy in Regina to like put 17s on a Honda, right? Like on an Acura. So it was,
that was a big deal back then, man.
Yeah, it was a wild thing to watch and see. And from that point on, that's kind of when I was like, oh man, I'm going to be all about this forever, is how long I've been about it. But I couldn't make that gap. Whenever I saw it and someone else saw it, I was like, you're going to fall in love with this just as much as I did. And then they really didn't. And I was always very confused about it. But here's the thing.
I think what your problem is, Ryan, I'll tell you right now.
Oh God. Hurt feelings.
You're trying to make people fall in love with it. You just got to go find the people that already fell in love with it and befriend them.
I mean, so just so you're clear.
Yeah, I know that's obviously what you've done. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I said goodbye to a lot of people in my life because they weren't into cars. There was just a full period where it was like,
you're cut.
You're into cars. You're into cars. You're into cars. You don't like cars? Yeah. Out you go. And that, there's been a very like prominent theme through my life of like, cars, good, let's go.
Do you think that's like a self-enabling thing? Like we all just hang out with each other and like only talk to each other because like, you know, like when I talk to Eric, I'm just like, yo, I bought another car. And he's like, yeah, like, congratulations. Me too. It's not like, he's not like, yo, man, like you got a real problem. Like, we should talk about this, you know?
No,
so is it a problem?
I got the same problem.
No. Here's the thing. And to be fair, like some of my closest friends from high school don't like cars, and where I'm still friends with them. But I remember even like going into university, I would be building cars and be into them. Like I was just starting to get into forums around that point and like starting to build my own relationships in the car scene. But like my regular friends, and I say that very, you know, like the regular dudes, they all liked football and hockey and they gambled on it. And it's like, I remember having like, I was like, if I wanted to hang out on a Sunday, I had to go watch football. And
tell me about it, man. It's the worst.
Yeah. And I had no inkling to watch it, but it's like, I'm a social guy. I wanted to be around people and I never really got it. I was like, this is really weird. And then I met like the guys that I really like hit it off with, like the guys that helped start Dota Logic and that scene. And I remember being like, oh man, this is what it's like. Like they sit around and talk about football, and it's like I get to sit around and talk about cars, which is why, as much of a chore as this podcast can be, I love doing it every Wednesday, because we talk about cars, and like that's my shit. That like I get to be like, oh man, someone gets what I'm into.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just to recap, if you don't have a vision for how to build a car or where you think you're going to draw inspiration from, you have no business being there in the first place to answer that question. Or you won't even be there in the first place. Like, I guess there isn't a lot of people that show up and be like, I guess I'll give this a try. It's like, I think if you're going to spend thousands of dollars on a car, you got to be fully about that life to do that.
At least at that time of your life. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think we've all had probably friends who have come to us and been like, hey man, like, I kind of want to like put some wheels on my car. I wouldn't mind lowering my car. Like, obviously you could help me with that or whatever, you know? And you're like, all right, well, like, you kind of don't really know what you're getting into. Like, you're going to put these, you know, like this is that whole quintessential thing of like, all right, you're going to spend, I don't know how much you're going to spend, $900 on getting some wheels that like fit worse than your current wheels or what, you know, and you're not going to look better. You're not going to get more return on your investment. Are you going to like walk away from your car in the parking lot, turn around and be like, fuck yeah, like that stock car with those wheels looks so sick, you know? Like,
because it's like,
not really, like
to get the wheels, you got to get the tires, and then you got to get the fenders done. Then you got to get the coilovers to like make it low. And then it's that's like the minimum, you know?
Well, maybe you need a tow arm now, you know?
Yeah. Like that's the
definitely got to get in alignment. Like, but I mean, that person is not going to appreciate a lowered car either.
No.
You think they're going to like appreciate the potholes and the speed bumps and the like, oh, now I can't even go to that location?
Depending on how good your suspension is.
Oh man, now I got to raise it to drive it in the winter. Like in Saskatchewan, it was like, so I shouldn't even drive it like this in the winter. It's like, no, shouldn't do that.
No, man, you should be definitely buying another car. Duh.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Didn't we talk about this in the beginning? Like,
what do you think? I'm doing all this shit for fun? Like I drive a shitty car in the winter just because it makes me feel good? Yeah, no. That's the tricky thing. Okay, so people have an inkling, they'll know what they're doing. And then I guess they just go down a rabbit hole and they research the hell out of it. I think to your guys' point, that is it. It's like you said, you draw inspiration, but then how do you know if you're drawing too much inspiration?
I was just going to say that. It's like, it's one thing to look at stuff and emulate it. And I mean, like, obviously you're going to come out with something that's pretty half decent and a lot of people are going to like it. But is it unique? Is it refreshing? Is it inspiring to the the upper echelon of car guys? Probably not. I guess when you ask me what I think a really cool car is, it's the cars that are at that level that have been beyond the like generic inspiration cars, like somebody that can really sort of like create something special.
All right. So we've established somewhat loosely what makes the car cool, and then how to find inspiration for a cool car. Do the research. Now let's actually like dive in and be like, what's cool, what isn't. So things versus other things. So wide body versus no wide body.
It depends on the car. I mean, I don't know. Like right now, like there aren't a ton or any that I really know of wide body 171 Crowns.
Are you sure about that? There's a lot of them.
Really? Like full out wide body?
Like the cars in Japan, there's Yakara, there's the
to me, those are just still like a bubble flare. It's not a wide body. It's not like,
okay, what do you define as a wide body then?
Like the breed where it's like a full or like mostly covering quarter panel that is a wide body. That's just like a fender flare. That's just a fender flare to me.
Okay, well, my definition of wide body is wider than stock body. So
Okay. Yeah, I guess that does make sense for wide body.
That means your Altez is a wide body.
I mean, it is.
That's the thing. I mean, it has all the work required for a wide body, like cutting and welding the fender and sealing it and doing all that. So I guess it is a wide body. I really kind of want to build the Crown stock body, but it feels limiting on the amount of wheel and tire and alignment settings I can get. I gotta say wide body, man. Wide body.
Wide body's cooler than stock body?
I don't know. I love stock body because I think you can take, to me, like stock body is like you can take that and make such a sick car with a stock body, like way sicker than all these people making cars with a wide body.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
that same person that could make that absolutely completely sick stock body car could probably also take the wide body and make it look absolutely fucking sick.
Gerard, wide body, stock body.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it really depends. I mean, it's two totally different styles. I mean, obviously, I have wide bodied cars. I've always had cars that were wide body, mainly just because obviously, if you're trying to get wheels with deep lip, there's no real way around it. But with that said, like on Kevin, like exactly what Kevin said, you can get a stock bodied car with fitment like that's tucking with like really wide wheels or a bunch of camber can look absolutely insane. Is it functional like for like maybe a drift car? Probably not. But like as far as a street car, stock body can be super, super dope. But yeah, like same thing. I hate that thing of like, oh, wide body, wide wheel, wide body, wide. Like where does it end? You're gonna get 4-inch flares and then 6-inch lips. Why don't you just get 5-inch flares and 7-inch, and then it goes on and you get this car that has the wheels sticking out so bloody far and it looks so kind of stupid.
That's every 240Z in my world.
I want to say it's
every 240Z like wants to pretend it's like a Lamborghini Diablo, where it's just like 8 inches lip in the rear and half an inch in the front. Like
I don't know. I think a lot of the Z's like that are being built like lately are like pretty sick for sure.
Sure. I mean, like,
they're not cheap cars anymore, so you got to be fully
exactly. You know,
you know,
you got to buy that. You got to buy that SERIALNINE shifter for your CD 009 in your fucking Z30
in your Z. Yeah, but I think overall, as far as aesthetics, a nicely done wide body, in my opinion, however subtle that may be, looks better. Because I mean, yeah, for example,
you got to say cooler. The point is how to build a cool car.
Cooler. So, I mean, yeah, it could look cooler. Like the breed kit, for example.
Cooler is better.
Yeah,
is a wide body.
We got to use the word cool.
Is a wide body that's designed to look stock, right? But it is wide body. It does allow you to run super wide wheels, but it looks stock.
Right.
So.
All right, Ryan, Gerard, stock body Porsche, RWB body Porsche.
RWB has that.
Mia, how much money in this hypothetical situation do I have?
Enough to buy either.
Oof. I think if I was rich enough to have an RWB Porsche, I would have an RWB Porsche. I think I can go either way on them though. I mean, like, look, I fully appreciate stock body, like full metal things, but I see the value in wide body. So, I mean, I think if I was just loaded, I would have an RWB Porsche for the sake of it, so I could be in the cool group messaging chats to talk about them.
The problem with Porsches is the stock offset is just absolutely hideous. It's like plus 60 or something. So it's really difficult to get something sort of cool under a stock body without running a bunch of camber. But yeah, good point. With that said, I've never seen like a 964 or like any sort of narrow body Porsche with like 7 degrees of camber and like kind of sick wheels. Like I've never seen that. Why not?
Like Porsches, like Porsche dudes and camber are like.
But why not? I mean, hey, it's 2021. People are building all sorts of stupid stuff. Like a Porsche on air is as stupid as
Kazushi Crossglow not done that?
He's definitely built some cool ones, but yeah, I don't think it's been that. The camber isn't a huge thing.
There's not. Yeah, he doesn't camber. He's just all low.
Yeah, I mean, there is inherent camber with that, but I don't think it's like additional excessive camber
to fit a wheel.
Yeah, which I think is always cool. Take any car, dump it, camber. The biggest wheel you could possibly fit into the stock body, and it's cool.
So at what point does that become not cool? How much camber is not cool? What would SERIALNINE do? At what point?
1 degree more than your Celsius is not cool.
I'm gonna probably say 7 to 9 degrees is my max. Like 7, to me like looks pretty good and like actually still drives pretty decent.
I actually stand by my in that realm of like what's nuts. Probably my limit was Kevin's Celsius, and that's based on like him giving me feedback, being like I was able to drive it, and it was like made sense. Would I build that car? No, but is it cool to look at, and was it neat to see? Yeah, of course it was, because nobody else had done that here. So
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do any. I don't have a desire to build a car that had more than that at the moment.
I think it's funny when dudes like lose their minds because it's like such a bad thing. It's like, oh, it has no contact patch. It has blah blah blah. It's like, dude, it's a show car that drives around the city. Like, I'm not trying to like fucking win races with 10 degrees of camber. Like, get fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some people's minds were boggled. They could like even drive though. One time, someone asked me if I backed up. Did the car raise up and the camber go away?
I remember that.
And I was like, you think it's like one of those toy cars that you pull back and it like shoots off or something? Like I pull it back and the car raises up and the camber goes away.
Yeah, that was
like,
in Cali.
It would have been pretty cool if it was, Kevin.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I should start working on that.
Yeah. Sitting on a goddamn gold mine. Next question for what is cool, how to build a cool car. Factory aero versus aftermarket aero.
Again, it depends on the style of car. But generally, factory aero is kind of sick because the car can be lower. Most of the time, aftermarket aero is generally lower than stock aero. So that limits the height in which you can put the car. A lot of times it's designed to make the car look lower, but it's not actually lower. So like the car with stock aero that is really low is a lot more of an accomplishment than a car that has aftermarket aero that is low. So yeah, I think it can go either way because obviously aftermarket aero changes the look of the car entirely, but to have a really low car with factory aero is kind of totally sick. And it's generally more durable.
Somewhere Carter Jackson just got his wings.
Well, I mean, also, a good example, Type X kit. The kit on my Blit, like I think is super sick. Like factory aero for Kevin's Crown is kind of sick.
I got factory aero on the Altezza still.
Yeah, the factory aero on the Altezza is pretty sick. Yeah, like for example, like GTRs and like R33s, 32s, 34s, like a lot of those arrows are sick. Like the Nismo aero for 370 or 350 or whatever is like pretty sick.
Yeah, honestly, like it has to take like a lot of sick styling to pull me away from like the functionality of the factory aero. Like I'd really have to like that bumper to switch it up to a fiberglass.
So I'm not going to see you guys running BN kits anytime soon.
I mean, I was about to put BN on my other car, but that's just basically because like I just wanted to be stupid at that point. I had run factory arrows literally since I built the car. Well, I had like a lip kit or whatever. I had factory rear, aftermarket sides, but they were like OEM style, like not too low. And then the front was like a mild. And it looked good because my car was really low and stuff. But then I thought, you know what? I want to make this actually look like a drift car. And I mean, if you want it to look like a actual crazy drift car, factory aero doesn't do that. BN does that, or like all those big arrows do that.
I'm going to shoot straight with you guys right now. I like aftermarket aero. That's me. All right. What's our next question?
What do you like about aftermarket aero?
I don't even know. It's just always been the thing in my life. It's that you do it. You know what I actually like about it is that there's more options available for people to find what suits them. If that
it's interesting because like, yeah, totally. I know what you're saying. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe with the Crown and the Aristo, there's not a ton of options.
Well,
like, but if I'm thinking about S13, it's just like, there's like 25 bumpers, 100
different bumpers.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When I was looking for aero for the Aristo, is I had the choice of like 326, BN, Vertex, not really. BN at the time, not really. But yeah, okay. How about this then? So aero low is not nearly as cool as car low. So if your body kit is so excessively low that the car itself actually isn't, that loses points in my book for coolness.
I think, because I didn't even think about Toyotas when we asked this question. I just went straight to S chassis, and then I was like, if I were to build an S chassis again, what would it be? And it would.
But like, there's no question with an S chassis. Of course, you're gonna get a fucking bumper. Yeah, there's so many cool ones.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the only way to make your car any sort of different.
Right.
I mean, Type X is pretty cool, but it's definitely
you gotta be able to. You gotta put.
But you have to have the whole shebang. You gotta have everything. You know.
All right. This section's brought to us by Rare Spec Wheels. I'm going to mention his name enough so that he actually starts liking the podcast,
so that you can't cut it out.
Yeah. And he finally starts saying nice things to me about this podcast.
Why he doesn't?
No, he just doesn't like me
only
on
likes
the
me.
podcast. He likes Kevin the most. So fuck him. Yeah, this part we'll call it the rare spec segment. So wheels, 1 piece, 3 piece, 2 piece, forged. What's good? What isn't?
I don't know, man. It depends.
Every
One piece.
every question I ask,
But that's
you
the thing
it
is you
depends.
could build a car that's sick with both. Okay, so
What are you gonna do?
I've done
let's just
both.
say-
Put 1-piece wheels on my car. I thought it looked sick. And then after like 3 weeks, I'm like, I really miss lip. You look at cars on the internet, you're like, man, that car looks sick. So then I get wheels with lip and I'm like, I'm going to try brush lip because brush lip's cool. And it's like new and it's like tight. And then I get brush lip. And then I'm like, yeah, that looks sick. And then like,
you just don't even know what the fuck you like. That's your problem.
because I like all of it. I could have, if I had different wheels for different days.
You should have brushed half of them, not all of them. And now you can have switched it up.
Yeah, and it's like now I have, I'm like $6,000 or $7,000 deep into these fucking veil sides, and I'm like, well, they're pretty cool, I guess. Like I could just get the brand new.
Yeah, now you just want to switch.
Cs,
yeah, it's all like the next thing.
Like I like it all, man. Forged obviously is dope, better than non-forged for sure. But like, is a TE37 worth $1,200 a wheel when you could buy a custom 3-piece rare spec wheel for $1,200 a wheel? Like, no. Like a TE just looks like a TE. It's a great wheel. It's a holy grail of forged wheels. But does it look better than a Blitz 03 or a Veilside or what are your wheels? Sellback or like
R33 wheel?
Equip? No, it doesn't. I mean,
what about taking the OEM wheel and making it a 3-piece wheel in a larger?
Yeah, exactly.
Larger
that's kind of tight.
That's fucking so tight.
That's that's like some next level shit. That's pretty cool.
I will have to say, I always kind of hated 1-piece wheels. I came from like the Corolla background, and I wanted my wheels to look like they were like trash cans. Like they needed to be so deep compared to how the diameter that they just look like a trash can sitting on its side. That's what I wanted all my wheels to look like. So when I started fucking with like the bigger, more modern cars, I still was, I'll say stuck in that mindset of like, I really would just wanted like chrome lip, like big dish. And then that's kind of how I treated my X7. And eventually I was like, all right, like I want to have like a 1-piece wheel. I'm going to get this work MCO, like it's a race wheel and all this stuff. And then I got it and I was like, this isn't even light.
No.
And it's like gram lights aren't even light.
No,
and
they're gram heavies.
like, so it's like, unless
but they have the word gram and lights in it.
I know. So and like I don't know, maybe unless it's a TE or like I've never really fucked with RPF 01s, but like my Yankees are pretty light, so that's chill. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with 3-piece, man. I love the lip. I love the fact that if you fuck up the lip, you can just get it fixed
for most of the time.
You could get a new lip. He didn't fuck up the lip. He fucked up the face.
Right.
I fucked up the whole wheel, man.
Yeah, the whole wheel. The
front,
shebang.
the back, the middle. Yeah, 100%.
It absorbed most of the impact, I think. Saved his life. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to be the opposite of you guys.
That was the crumple zone.
Yeah, I'm going to be the opposite of you guys. I love just solid 1-piece wheels so much that's like what I wanted on my Aristo, and then just on my like daily Forerunner, I'm like, that thing can have 3-piece wheels. Like that thing will just have the 3-piece.
But that's a perfect example, man, because it's like 1-piece wheels on an Aristo are kind of like sick. Yeah, it's like a sporting wheel on a not so sporting car.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why like those VIP quote unquote deep dish wheels look so good on S chassis and stuff, because it's like a crazy look.
Yeah, because it's like almost the not meant to be.
I mean, the other aspect, of course, is like the serviceability. Like if you are into drifting, 1-piece wheels can get very fucking expensive because you have to replace. I mean, if you have nice ones, not like $200 or $300 Rotas, ESRs, or maybe even Cosmos, but like if you screw up one of those lips, you're replacing the whole wheel. Yeah. If you screw up a 3-piece lip, you're replacing a $200 lip for the most part, if it's salvageable.
Livery versus no livery. Let's go there.
Okay, Kevin's first. Go.
If it's a track car, you got to have a livery in my world. Street car, I kind of still like a subtle amount of stickers to kind of accentuate and maybe draw focus to certain things you have on your car. I kind of like I've always liked like a sticker on the rear window, like a large sticker on the rear. Yeah, I'm down. I like stickers. Like, kind of hate when you see like a minivan and like the entire back of it is plastered with like gas station bumper stickers. Like, that's not cool. There are those drift cars that the entire back window is plastered with various stickers, but like, yeah, I feel like that just kind of happens. Like, people give you stickers, you're at events, and like it kind of becomes like a patchwork quilt of where that car has been, if you will.
I think it's sick when the front window's covered in stickers, like so much that you can barely see out of it. I think that shit is cool. I don't know why.
I think it's kind of cool too. Yeah,
like a big Fig Newton sticker across your.
No. Like, there's just like a fuck ton of stickers on the front window. I just think it's like kind of sick.
Man, I wish you've seen Talladega Nights, but all right.
I have seen Talladega Nights.
He puts a big Fig Newton sticker on his car.
That shit's stupid.
And he's like, "Oh, this is dangerous," but I do love Fig Newtons. All right. Okay, but so here's the thing. Stickers are a currency in our world to some degree. Like, certain stickers are worth more, and to people, I mean, like, value-wise, like, I remember dudes getting stickers of certain drift teams and being like, well, I'm never going to put this on my car because, like, I don't want to waste it. And it was like, well, that's a lot. And then, but yeah, there is a currency, and I'm sure you guys have a drawer full of stickers that you've never put on anything because you have no ties to it, but someone wanted you to run their sticker on your car. My favorite is, I think I gave Kevin and you guys stickers, and I was like really excited you were going to put it on your car. And Kevin's like, I'm not putting this on my car. And I was like, Kevin will always be very honest with me, and I appreciate that.
Honestly though, like, I love all your stickers. Like, you're like one of my favorite stickers, which I would never put on my car because I never want to have that sticker ruined. And like, I totally agree with you. I literally have boxes, like multiple boxes of stickers, and they're the sickest stickers, and I never want to put them on anything, and that sucks.
That's nice of you. I would for sure just give you more stickers, but it's fine. We don't need to get into that. It's all right. I'll run Serial 9 stickers.
It's the cats with the GX71 with the like Bridgestone and the like sticker. Yeah, that one.
Right. I'll just run Serial 9 stickers on my car because I cherish our friendship. Anyway,
that's why we as Serial 9 try to just give you a bunch of stickers, because it's like, if the sticker's sick, you don't want to put it on anything. But if the sticker's sick and you have 5 of them, then it's like, well, shit. All right, well, it doesn't really matter. I just I could put 2 on something and I still got some.
If somebody means something to me, there's stickers on my car. That's just how I do that. That's me. That's my mentality. Anyway, that's not a livery though. That's not a race.
That's like 20 minutes worth of like.
That's not 20 minutes. All right.
Whatever. That's a whole part of the podcast. Stickers. Stickers versus no stickers.
Gerard, race livery versus no livery.
I'm okay. First of all, I won't put. My car has to have stickers on it. So whether or not somebody's going to consider that a livery, I don't know. But like, if it's like the crazy super duper livery with like, the multicolors and the fucking tribal and all this other stuff, I don't know if I can get down with that. I mean, I definitely would fuck with a bit of a livery, but like that, some of that stuff's just too much. Like, when all the stickers, like all the logos are stroked in different colors and like, it's like a whole huge thing. I don't really like that. Like, it's got to look sort of clean. Like, I guess for me, it's like that, 2000-esque street style livery. That's my jam. And that's kind of what I've always sort of had on my cars. I don't know if you call that a livery, but I don't know if I could do like the full, like Formula D / Naoki Nakamura. I can't do that shit. It's too much for me.
Kevin, just to go back to it, because I don't think we got like a fully clear answer on it. Livery or no livery for Kevin?
I kind of have to agree with Gerard. I like stickers on my car, but I just like a simpler, cleaner amount and look to the stickers. Yeah, I feel like those like full crazy livery cars almost look like a delivery van with like a crazy just like printed vinyl wrap. It's just too much for me. Like you're not accentuating the body lines. You're not helping. You're not helping. But I will say one thing with those liveries is they completely hide all sorts of body damage. They just hide everything, and like maybe that's why they work so well on those types of cars.
But they also definitely like look super crazy. Like when you get like a nice racing-ish livery, I mean I feel like there's definitely a different style.
Yeah, honestly, like those low origin cars, like
yeah,
that's like the highest amount of livery without going too far, in my opinion.
I think those cars look sick too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it's really crazy livery, but it's like it still looks sick and maybe hasn't gone past into too much.
And I mean it's kind of cool too because they have the matching. What do they call those? Like that wheel color from work, the purple like fucking like flip flop color, and it's like that matches too with like the purple in the vinyl. Like it's kind of like a little detail that they did.
Yeah, it's like well thought out.
Yeah. And I mean like definitely some of the like actual Formula D or like RDS or Drift logo, like that new Supra, the HGK like Supra Fighter has quote unquote a livery, but like it looks super cool and it's like matched to the body of the car and stuff. Like I don't know, just like looks that to me. If like that looks really cool. If you want to call that a livery, I like it. Yeah.
Do I get a weigh in on liveries?
Yeah, sure.
Nobody cares. I like it to a degree if it ties a team together. I like it when team members are still distinguishable. Still like the crazy like livery is great as long as I still know who everyone is and things are distinguishable. As a guy who takes photos, it kind of gives like an extra thing to focus on. And so if everything is sharp in that photo and I can see the livery and it's all fucking sharp and in focus while you get the motion blur, I feel like that's like goal achieved and I feel good about myself. But would I ever do that? No, probably not. Personal taste is probably more in line with you guys. I do like just the idea of like maybe the grocery list of like these are the things that I have on my car.
And I guess the thing too is like for me the style of car I like is like a street drift style car. So it's like if it's got this ridiculous crazy livery, it's like pretty much denoted as a racing car. So like driving that on the street is not really an option at that point. Well, I mean, I guess you can drive it on the street, but it obviously just like stands out like a sore thumb. So that's probably one reason I'm not super down with that. But if it was a dedicated race car, I mean, who knows? We'd have to have some sort of livery.
So what about this? What's more important? The cars being the same color as a team or having a similar livery as a team?
I feel like if you live in Western Canada, at some point your team should be all the same color. Just that's a rite of passage.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have a long lineage of just drift teams with super different cars all being the same color.
But I mean, I feel like whenever you see a drift team and all the cars are the same color, it just is so much more impactful.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. There's a reason I think why people do it. Honestly, if I were to say it, my favorite is like when they all drive like super different cars, but they're all the same color. Then I know who's driving what. So I know who to tag in the photo.
Yeah, I think for us, like in all our years of building driving cars, we've never ever had cars that were the same color.
No.
Except maybe by happenstance they were white because like white just happens to be like some common ass color that we had. But
if you're going to be all the same color, I prefer it if it's maybe a little bit like more of an out there color or not like
not white,
not like white or black.
But like, okay, so what if like, Gerard, I, and Carter all had matching liveries that went with the style of our cars so that you could tell that all those three cars went together, but they were all their own individual things.
I think that would be cool too. I think that would be cool. I'm not as like picky, I guess, on that. I'm fine with it however it goes. I do enjoy the street-esque style of your guys' cars, and then seeing that on the track is cool. But I mean, generally what I found is my friends that drive do a thing, and at first I'd be real sour on it, like, why'd you all do that? And then I'd see it and be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then like I'd warm up to it. So yeah, I'm not a super stickler on it. I do like things that tie people together, though, in that sense of like.
I wanted to say this before, but so Gerard, we'd be driving around, and Gerard would get choked at all these like poorly modified cars. Like they would just be terrible. You know what I mean? Like terrible fitment, super high, like, and he would just be getting so choked, and I'd be like, dude, like calm down, man. Like you don't understand. Like if everybody had your car wouldn't be cool. Like
the car will always be cooler.
Those shitty fucking modified cars are what make your car cool. Like
I disagree, because that means my scale of measure is fucking low. My scale of measure is like that fucking peasant level, and like I'm above a peasant level. Fucking sick. No, I want to be above like the gangster level. So like everyone can have a car that's similar to mine. My car will always be better. I feel like that's a level to achieve versus like be better than like these terribly fitted shitty cars.
But also you're like mad at those peasant level cars, you know,
because that's the best that those motherfuckers could come up with. Come on. That's like being stoked that like people are stupid.
I mean, I think
you know what I mean? There's definitely shit in life that you're peasant level at. You know what I mean? I'm sure people walk by your house and they're like, look at this fucking peasant level fucking front landscaping. Look at this fucking idiot. He thinks these boxwoods look good? This fucking dumbass. Like, I should fucking piss on this guy's fucking house. Like, you know what I mean?
Do it.
It's like this,
be like, yo, give me some tips, man. Or like, hey, I'll pay you to
went into the arborist mode, and it was the best. I was fucking full arborist. I was going to say, I kind of get both sides of it. The thing that I think, though, that's tough for when you see, like, when you're with your friends that don't understand cars and they start pointing at shit being like, you like that, and you're like, no man, I don't like that, like the peasant level car, and you're like, that's not what I'm into. And they're like, why? It has wheels, a spoiler, and a, you know, like the crazy color, like why don't you like that? And like people send me photos of cars and like, look, it's an Aristo, you should like it. And it's like, that's not my prerequisite for liking a car. And that is our ability to distinguish what's tasteful and what isn't.
The minute differences that make.
But I feel like if you have a wheel with like a 5-inch polished lip, it does not resemble any wheel in which this person regularly sees. There's not a single car on the road that you could buy.
But they would often not see like a pink wheel. So like it's a tricky thing, you know, like they could be like, well, that's neat, but that wheel's pink and I like pink, so I want the pink wheel. You know, and then like that is when you're dealing with people that aren't in the know, it's like it's the distinguishing taste that makes us. That's what it is for the car world and how we do things. And that level.
So basically what you're saying is we're like a car sommelier.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And that's how you build
and
a cool
on that
car.
Note,
yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
That is how you build a cool car.
A car sommelier.
Learn as much as you can. Yeah. Fucking get the notes and aromas, know where everything was built and what was a good year and what was a bad year. And that's
what has legs.
Yeah. Fucking Gerard's new car is gonna have legs, you know. I don't know. And that is how you build a cool car. It actually, I mean, really ties into it. You said do a thing for 10 years, learn about it, and then build a thing, you know. And realistically, the other part is do a thing, make mistakes, and then keep learning from the mistakes that you made.
That's probably the most realistic thing.
Or just do it perfect every time.
Fuck off. All right. Well, I think that is hopefully gives some insight in how to build a cool car.
All right. Cool. I like it.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Serial Podcast 9.